How do everyone? Bit of a nippy morning this morning. I'm in North Yorkshire again today. I know I've not done a post for a while, but life's been a bit busy, man, you know how it is. So we're heading to a place called Druids Temple today. Should be quite interesting, lots to see there. So on the way there's a few other things to pick up as well that I hope to capture on the video. So I'll see you in a bit, folks. Okay, first point of interest on this morning's striding outwards into the countryside. There's a little village, well it's not even a village, a little hamlet called Phoebe. Interesting place. It's called Phoebe and it relates back to when the Danes settled here, when this part of the country was part of the Danelaw. So Phoebe is an old Danish name meaning 4 farms. Let's have a look. This is it. Looking nice and green this time of year, of course. Early April. Hopefully it'll warm up a bit when the sun gets a bit higher, because at the moment it's decidedly chilly. So we're just coming out the other side of Phoebe now. But I just wanted to point out the pub. It's called the Black Swan. And what I want to do is just go and have a look at the views from out the back, because the views are quite spectacular. So on a nice summer's day when you're doing this walk, if ever you decide to do this walk, it's a great spot to just sit outside and have a swift half or two. Black Sheep Brewery, so you know you're in for a tasty treat. So out the back of this pub is a caravan site, and because it's half term and all the kids are off, the caravan site's quite full, as you can see. But like I was saying about the views, the sun's glazing a bit. Sorry if it affects the quality of the video, but we're heading up. I don't know whether you can see them trees in the background. On top of that hill, that's where we're heading, to Druids Temple. See you in a bit. Okay, so we're well on the way now to Druids Temple. Here's the first signpost for it. Swinton Bivouac and Druids Temple. I'll explain what Swinton Bivouac is once we get up there. There's quite a lot to talk about when we get up to here. With the sheep in the fields in the background, waiting to give birth. Be any time now, April. So let's crack on up this track towards Druids Temple. Another signpost coming up. It's a right turn here. Swinton Bivouac, campsite and cafe bistro, Druids Temple and Woodland. Swinton Bivouac. Like I say, I'll explain more about Swinton Bivouac when we get up there, but at the moment we need to crack on up this track to Druids Temple. That is the agenda of the day. It's a beautiful day. It has warmed up a touch. The sun has got quite a bit of strength this time of year, thankfully. But still, as long as it's not raining, it's always nice to get out. We should see some fantastic views from the top. So the woodland that we're approaching is the woodland that I pointed out, if you remember, from the rear of the Black Swan pub. So it's not took that long to get there. Mind you, my lanky legs do make these kind of adventures a little bit more swifter than the average person, perhaps, hence the name Strider. Okay, so we're on the final leg now. We're approaching even Druids Temple. car. Don't want to get run over today. You'd think it was Easter, wouldn't you? Nice to see. A little bit of a woodland adventure for the kids. So there's various places you can set off from on this walk to get this point. You can even drive up to here if you want. There's quite a lot of parking up here. Just make sure you set off early in the summer. You know how crowded the country is. But from where I set off this morning, it's only took me an hour and 20 minutes walking up here. So yeah, I'll spin the camera around. Should be quite a lot to see coming up now. Welcome to the Druids plantation. Hopefully you can see that's where we are. Just along here is Druids Temple. There's an awful lot to read on here about the wildlife, the history of the place, the owners. You'll have to get up here yourself and see it, I'm afraid. No good sitting at home watching YouTube all day. So this site is owned by Swinton Estate. And there's a castle not so far away called Swinton Castle, and they own huge swathes of land up here on this part of the Yorkshire Dales. And they also own numerous houses, farms, etc. that you can rent from at a reasonable price if ever you feel like moving up to this part of the world. There you go. So it's a beautiful day. I haven't met anybody yet. Seen the odd car. Everybody's at home laid in bed watching YouTube. A lot of tree planting going on here. So usually these woodlands is what they call managed woodlands. And the trees will get to a certain age, they'll fell them. There is money in everything, unfortunately, and then they replace them with these young trees. But it would be good to see these forests allowed to mature, come back in 400 years time or whatever, and see these deciduous trees they've planted in the full glory. Just round this bend, I think. My memory serves me right. Ah, here we go, coming up. Yep, here we go. Druids Temple. So we have lots of satellite structures around the temple itself, such as this one here, for example. Which is spectacular in its own right. So I think we'll go up around the perimeter of the temple first and then we'll venture inside. There's another interesting obelisk. Something else over there. Also through here. You really got to pay attention because you could miss things. So just before we take a closer look at the temple itself, we'll just pick up some of these standing stones and what have you that are scattered around. So there's a little bit further a walk. There's a big standing stone up here in the trees. See that? Okay, back to the temple itself. So like I said, we'll pick up the perimeter first before venturing inside. So it's really well built, this. Just get out the sun a bit so you can see what we've got here for the perimeter wall. 1, 2, 3, 4 tiers of stone all interlocking with each other. Really well made. Another information post sign. Like I said earlier, it's up to yourselves to get up here and read it. I'm not going to read it. Some interesting bird feeders, are they? Or squirrel feeders. Funny looking squirrels. Yeah, there must be squirrel feeders them. I don't know what the heck they are. What they're feeding them with. Maybe it's for the red squirrels, maybe. Anyway. So yeah. Under this tree. Oh, you bugger. Some of it's been dislodged over time. Some of this perimeter wall. A bit slippy. Had a bit of rain last night. So this is the view from above the temple. As you can see, there's quite a lot going on here. Nobody around. And then at the back here, just before we come down the other side of the perimeter, we've got another obelisk. Obelisk. With a set of standing stones, stone circle around it. Very impressive. So we'll head down the other side of the perimeter of the temple. I'm just going to turn this off in case I slip, because it's a bit muddy. Okay, managed to navigate myself down the slippery slope. Coming back down. Jump across this mud. And we'll enter the temple itself. Ooh, you bugger. So a nice doorway. In we go. Look at this, everybody. And straight away to the left. We have that. It looks like there used to be some kind of information sign attached to here once upon a time. to the right of the doorway. Have that. So I think what we'll do, because there's quite a lot to see, is go up the left hand side first and then come down the right hand side. So yeah, very standing stones, altar stones, central standing stone, kinds of little nooks and crannies along here. Ideal place to make your sacrifices if you're that way inclined. And then there's another doorway. Another altar stone directly ahead of me. Kind of chamber. I think we'll have a venture into there, eh? Now I hope my camera can pick this up, but the walls are covered in a green lichen, which is like luminous, like got a sheen and a glow, like shimmering. Various stones inside the chamber. Very nice indeed. Bit of ash down there. Somebody's obviously been making an offering of some description. See that green lichen glowing. Oh, that's better. You can see it now. Coming back out. And we'll come down the other side to see what we can pick up with the camera. Back through this doorway. More little chambers, etc. along this side. Various standing stones. No doubt teenagers come up here in the summer party, and I'm sure they've had a good go at trying to push some of these stones over, which would be a shame, because it is a nice place to visit. It really is. I'll give you a bit of the history of the place when we leave here. There's still quite a bit to see. Like I said earlier, there are various satellite structures around. That's quite an impressive doorway into here. And there we have Druids Temple. Quite impressive, eh? Right, I'm not going to turn the camera off because there's too much to see. So again, along here we see where they do their outdoor weddings, hand fastings. So if you fancy coming somewhere beautiful and traditional to get married or hand fasted, why not come here? altar stone here, or sacrifice stone, or whatever you want to call it. Really impressive. So the history of this place, you might look at it and think, ooh, Druids Temple, I wonder how many thousands of years old this place is. But it's not that old, funny enough. There was a period during the 1800s where there was a big interest in sort of like paganism, our history, pre-Christian history of this island. And as part of that, the landowners who owned Swinton Estate built this Druids Temple and all the other stuff you see around here. So you've got to take your hat off to these people, and long may it be around. So here's some more satellite stuff to pick up. Could be mistaken for being on the Welsh landscape with all these structures around, or Cornwall, or so it's a bit breezy up here now. I hope you can hear me, but just walking along the track, and look at this fine structure here as well. There we go. It's a bit bloody blowy. So this leads nicely to a nice seating spot here with panoramic views of Leighton Reservoir. So yeah, a great spot for me to end my talk on Druids Temple, I think. Up here in the Yorkshire Dales in North Yorkshire, to the west of Massam. Quite the view, hey? Another information sign, all the names of the hills, about the flora and fauna that grow up here. But like I said earlier, it's up to you to come up here and read it yourself. Then, I did say I was going to talk about bivouac and what that was all about. So we finished our visit at Druids Temple, and we'll go and have a look at bivouac now, and I'll give you a little talk of what that's all about. It'd be a shame to miss out on it because it is right next to it. So they have all these yurts in the field where you can come and stay. I think they have outside kind of hot tubs as well attached to them. All fenced off, of course, so you can't see because it's private. And then at the back, there's some buildings. I mean, the sun's interfering with the quality of the video, I'm afraid, but it's a good spot to come and have a cup of tea and something to eat if you want, and spend the day exploring around here. So we're up in the Yorkshire Dales, North Yorkshire. Now North Yorkshire is blessed with two national parks, the Yorkshire Dales National Park, and just over to the east we have the North York Moors National Park. Hopefully you can see that escarpment of the western edge of the North York Moors. There we go. Till next time, people, keep well, keep safe, and keep striding.